Hey guys, Adam here with AmericanMuscle.com, and today we're taking a quick look at listening to and installing the Grip Catback exhaust available for the 15 and newer EcoBoost Fastbacks without active exhaust. You should be checking this out for your own EcoBoost if you're looking to ditch the factory exhaust in favor for one that's going to give you a louder sound profile, one that's going to be more aggressive, bumping up the volume a bit without giving you any drone inside the cabin that we all know a lot of aftermarket exhausts for EcoBoost tend to do. Now before we jump into the sound clip, I want to get this out of the way. Obviously, you can't make an EcoBoost sound like a GT. Your 4-cylinder turbo is not going to sound like a V8 Mustang, but you can definitely make the EcoBoost sound a lot better and a lot more aggressive. Now, this Grip Catback from ARC Performance, as you just heard from our sound clips, I'm going to be giving 3 out of 5 on our loudness meter. Now, it's something that's perfect for the daily driver, someone looking to increase the aggression from their EcoBoost exhaust without getting the drone. You'll notice that the ARC Performance here Grip Catback has a funky muffler setup that you might not have seen before. ARC Performance builds in the Helmholtz technology into this J-tube here that's going to filter out all the higher frequency exhaust sounds and minimize drone, even eliminating it completely. Now, I will say when I first started it up at cold start, it sounded like it might have a little bit of drone inside, but once you start getting going and this thing warms up, it sounds really crisp, really clean, and more importantly, really consistent throughout the RPM band. I've driven on my fair share of catbacks for the EcoBoost here, and a lot of them do tend to have a good amount of drone, especially between 2,500 and 3,500 RPMs, which is that sweet spot cruising red light to red light. For daily drivers, that can mean the difference between getting to work with a headache or without one. Now this guy here was pretty much drone free, which is a really pleasant driving experience. At cold start, like I said, it's a little bit louder, but as it warms up red light to red light, you get a really deep, really aggressive sound, and it stays really consistent throughout the RPM band, so even at highway speeds, you don't have to worry about drone inside the cabin. Have an easy conversation with your passenger, listen to music without having that overbearing sound inside. Now, there are louder options out there, but the louder you get, the more likely you're going to get a little bit more drone. So if you're looking for a nice, high-quality system, this is a really good way to go without the headache. Now, the whole system, head to toe, is 304 stainless steel, mandrel bent tubing, so it's going to reduce some of those kinks. 304 being the more premium quality materials in the category, so you get a really high quality exhaust. And ARC Performance did a beautiful job putting this together. The welds look absolutely superb. Now the catback exits the vehicle with those single exhaust tips. They're 4.5 inches, so a lot bigger than some of the other options out there. Slash cut, double walled with a polished finish. Now the polished finish looks really similar to the factory one, so you stay a little bit more traditional with this one, but there are stealthier black options out there as well. Now the catback comes in right around 1,500 bucks. Again, a little bit more on the premium side of the non-active exhaust systems out there. If you're looking for an active exhaust, there are some of the other options. This one is not going to be for you. This is for non-active guys only. Install, I'm going to give 2 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter. You can drop the whole factory catback in one piece. And of course, this guy goes up in just 3 pieces. Your mid pipe, which is a Resonator Delete Y pipe. And then of course the 2 tailpipes with the tips and mufflers built in all in one piece. So with that said, it'll take you about 2 hours from start to finish. I'm going to show you every step of the process. What do you say we get started? Now the tools used in this install include an impact gun or a ratchet, an extension, 13 and 15 millimeter deep sockets, and I recommend PB Blaster or WD-40 for some lubricant. First step here, guys, underneath the car to get your factory catback out of the way, grab a 15 millimeter deep socket. We're gonna loosen up the 2 bolts here on this band clamp right behind our factory muffler in front of this flex pipe. Now we don't actually have to remove this. We don't have to remove this hanger either. We're going from here all the way to the back. Grab your 15 socket and loosen these guys up. Next up, we're in the rear end here looking at these 2 hangers. We don't need to remove the hangers from the isolators. As a matter of fact, it's way easier just to unbolt it from the frame itself. So grab a 13 millimeter socket. I'm also going to use an extension. And I'm going to go right over our rear sway bar to get those guys out of the way. All right, so from here what you can do is just lift up and swing this guy off because it's going to be hooked into that frame slot. I'm just going to unhook these guys and get them down. All right, guys, so I'm back at the front of the vehicle. I'm going to use a mallet to just tap this band clamp back a little bit. We're going to shuffle this out of position at the front end, move it back toward me, and slide it out of the hangers above our tips. I got my buddy Joe helping me out here to hold one end. If you're working on the ground, it's going to be a lot easier, but if you're in the air like we are, you might need a helping hand. So I'm going to use this mallet here, tap this back. There it is. We'll come back toward me and slide them out of the hangers and set it aside. All right, so we got our factory catback off of our 2018 EcoBoost, and it's on the ground here next to our grip catback here from ARC Performance. Now, I want to take you through some similarities and differences between the two kits, and I want to start here at the front of the vehicle. Now, looking at our factory catback, you can see that we, of course, have the factory Y pipe, but instead of it being an actual Y pipe, it's more of that resonator pipe. Now, the resonator there is keeping a little bit of that volume down that you'd probably want to get out of your EcoBoost. And if you're looking at a catback like this, you're probably looking to remove that altogether. Instead of just diminishing the volume, it's also going to diminish some of the airflow. It's going to give you an airflow restriction that can rob you of a couple of horsepower and torque that you'd get otherwise with a more free-flowing exhaust. Now, your grip catback here from ARC Performance uses a full 304 stainless steel Y pipe that is a resonator delete. Now, getting rid of that resonator is going to open up that airflow, going to give you a little bit more airflow volume coming through. There aren't as many kinks or blockages in the way of getting that airflow through the exhaust pipes. This is also going to be good for the guys looking for a little bit more volume out of that. With the free-flowing open mid pipe here, you get a lot more of that airflow through, which is also going to bump up your aggressive sounds. Now, this Y pipe here, again, 304 stainless steel, mandrel bent tubing, so it's reducing any kinks in the bends for the tubing there. Really beautiful welds here throughout the entire system from ARC Performance. Some of the best welds I've seen in an aftermarket catback myself. Moving on there, of course, it's got the single inlet because of the 4-cylinder. It's also going to have the dual outlet here to match your factory dual exhaust. Moving on there, you'll see that it's got the same mounting points for the hangers there as your factory one, so we'll have to transfer over those isolators. And then finally, the huge difference comes in with the mufflers and tips. Now, as far as the muffler is concerned, it's a bullet style muffler. It's a lot smaller and narrower than your factory muffler. It's going to produce the sound you heard from our sound clip earlier on. Not too overwhelming, but definitely louder than some of the more basic daily driver options out there. And then finally, you're probably thinking to yourself, what the hell is that thing coming off the side of it? That is Helmholtz technology built into what a lot of people call a J-tube. Now, essentially, the job of a J-tube there is to remove some of the higher frequencies in the exhaust gases that would otherwise produce a lot of interior drone inside your car. As you heard from our sound clips, this exhaust is really deep. It's got a lot of throaty tone to it. Nothing really high-pitched about it, and that's going to be because of that J-tube there. All of the high frequencies filter out of that J-tube using Helmholtz technology, bounce around in the sound tubing that it has inside of that, and of course it's going to delete some of that frequency there. So that's why you get no drone inside the cabin and a really crisp, clean, very unique sound from this ARC Performance grip catback. Now, the factory tips there are a little bit more aggressive than some of the factory catbacks you see on a lot of vehicles, but it still leaves a lot to be desired. Your new tips from the grip catback from ARC Performance is a lot more aggressive. It's going to fill out the cutout in your rear valance a little bit more than your factory one did. It's a 4.5-inch slash cut, double walled, polished 304 stainless steel. So a lot of really high quality names right in that exhaust tip there, but at the end of the day, it looks really good. It's got a nice mirror-like shine to it with a polished finish and the ARC name engraved right in the materials. Now, if you're not really a fan of the more traditional polished tip, there is also a black version as well. You can get something a little bit more stealthy if that's going to fit your taste a bit more. Now, starting things off, we're going to have to transfer over these isolators to our new hangers, and then we'll start with our Y pipe. What do you say we get started? All right, first step here, we're going to grab our factory clamp, set it on over our cat pipe, making sure it aligns with that little welded on button there. Slides right into position. Following up with that, you're going to put your Y pipe in position. Now, the Y pipe does go on in a specific way. There's a welded on bracket with an open circle hole here. You want to make sure that's facing down. All right, set the Y pipe in position. You're going to tighten down that clamp. All right, once you have that guy lifted up here, grab your 15 socket and tighten down your factory clamp. All right, next step, grab your muffler. I'm going to start on our driver's side. You want to lubricate the hangers or the isolators on the frame, which I've already done. I'm going to slide the hanger into the tip section first. Once that's through, line it up to the Y pipe. Now, before we tighten any clamps down, I want to grab that factory isolator. Now, like I said, you could have done this on the grounds, or you can do it here when you start to install. Just make sure that when you install this guy from your factory exhaust onto the new hanger, that this tab is facing this subframe so it can lock in place there. Slide that guy on, bring it upwards, hang it up on the frame. Let's not tighten this down just yet. Let's put the other one on. All right, same thing on the other side before we tighten our clamps down. All right, so now we can put the second isolator on the other exhaust tailpipe hanger. lift it up and connect it to the frame. All right, so next you can take those factory 13mm bolts, align those threads, and put them through by hand. All right, once you got those guys in, grab your 13 socket and extension, go over the sway bar and tighten them down. All right, so now we can focus on those clamps. I'm gonna get it nice and snug, and then we'll come back and tighten it down. All right, from there, I'm gonna lift up on my muffler to make sure that the tip is aligned properly, and then finish the job here. All right, same thing on the other side. All right, you're good to go. That's gonna wrap up my review and install for the Grip catback exhaust, available with polished tips for the 15 and newer EcoBoost fastbacks without active exhaust. This is a great way to go. Get yours right here at AmericanMuscle.com.